Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our national Q&A call. Today is the 7th of February, 2023. It's 9:02 a.m. on the West Coast, 12:02 p.m. on the East. I'd like to welcome everybody to the call. We're going to get started right now with news you can use. Today, we're going to talk about Renters' Bill of Rights. This is a plan that's being put out by the Biden administration to give some additional rights to renters. Just for some background information, 44 million households in the U.S., which is about 35% of the population, live in rental housing. So a little over a third of everybody lives in some form of rental housing. The current administration has identified a clear and present need for what they call safe, quality, accessible, and affordable housing, clear and fair leases. So as if these things aren't going on today, but anyway, safe, quality, accessible, affordable housing, clear and fair leases. Okay, that's what they're trying to fix. Didn't know we had a problem, but evidently we do. And by the way, those of you who ever done a burr, you keep your eyes open on this deal because this is gonna really catch you in the neck if you're not careful. All right, they are looking at several topics. The bill currently has a provision to take care of egregious rent increases. Now, these are rent increases that are above and beyond what the federal government deems, or actually it'll be the Department of Housing. That will be the authority charged with running this deal. It's going to take care of egregious rent increases. Now, there's no standard on that. This is going to be one of these bills that ends up, if it does get passed, and I doubt it will get passed with the current House makeup that we've got, but it might. You never know. It depends on how they water it down. But currently, it is one of these, vote on it and then we'll tell you the details later on type things. Hopefully, this current House that we've got will put an end to that kind of voting on these kinds of things. But currently, it's a nebulous, unspecified, just a terminology, egregious rent increases. They have the ability to fine, leverage, and literally they'll be able to confiscate your house if you're an owner, if you're found to violate the egregious rent increase clause too many times. I don't know what that is. It's, like I said, it's unknown at this point in time. Now, this would apply to the homes that have a federal loan on them, an FHA, VA, Freddie, Fannie, those kinds of loans. Even a quasi-government loan, a VA, USDA, these types of things, which is about 28% of the national rental stock is funded by these types of government loans. So if you did a burr in the last 10 years and you went to the government window to get one of these 10 loan finances on 1 to 4 units, you're going to be right in the crosshairs of this deal. Now, there's some issues about whether they can force this on non-government loan properties, if that makes any sense. So in other words, you have a conforming loan or non-conforming loan with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, something like that. There's some clauses that may allow them to do that. I think they're in for a big battle, but they clearly have provisions in the existing government loans out there that will allow them to, regulate any landlord that has a government loan. So 28% of 44 million, that's 28 million housing units, actually, I think is what the number, but that's a pretty big number. I mean, it's 6, 7, 8 million units or doors, houses or doors type things. They're going to have provisions in there for rent freezes and rent reduction. So I don't know exactly how they'll do it. California's floated a trial balloon like this, and they couldn't even get this through an all-Democratic legislature and Senate that we've got here in California. So we'll see how far this goes on a federal level. But anyway, they'll be able to freeze rents and reduce rents unilaterally. The government will come in and say, well, you were charging $1,700, but we deem $1,500 is the max, so you're going to have to reduce your rent to $1,500. This is all theory, and a lot of this is my conjecture of how these things roll out based on the fact that I'm a native Californian, and we've seen this kind of stuff coming for a long time out here first. So this is how it's rolled out typically here, and then the rest of the country ends up doing kind of what we do. But that'll be interesting because as we saw during COVID, for the first time ever, the government stuck their nose into literally contracts between two individuals, which in my opinion is clearly unconstitutional. There's still things winding their way through the Supreme Court that'll eventually be heard probably 5-6 years down the road, but This will be the government literally getting involved between two private parties on a contract that's a private contract. So, and then modifying that. So we'll see how that goes. They're going to have some effect over security deposits, how much, when, the rules regarding security deposits, how they're to be kept. As you know, most jurisdictions now require security deposits be kept in a trust account, a separate trust account. Many mom and pop landlords don't do that. There'll be rules to limit application fees. There'll be, and then this is the biggest piece that they're going to take a stab at, is the eviction protection program. They're going to try and what they're going to do is they're going to provide universal legal fees, legal resources to people who are being evicted, so that you will not be going up against your tenant who's not paying. You're going to be going up against the federal government's lawyers who are going to defend the tenant because they couldn't pay. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. Once again, we're paying our taxes to have this thing, foisted upon us. And then ultimately, they're looking at a program. They've changed it slightly, but it's called Universal Rental Assistance. Now, if you look back to one of our news you can use last year, we talked early 22. We talked about UBI, Universal Basic Income. That's one of the big programs that the Matrix is pushing on us out there, where everybody in the world will own nothing and you'll love it. You'll get all of your income from the government. You won't have to make any more or make any less. You'll just get a stipend from the government. That's what you get. They're looking at doing that on the rental basis, Universal Rental Assistance, read between the lines, and that will be a paid, basically what we call Section 8. Now, Section 8's been a good program for a lot of landlords out there, and it's done a good job, in my opinion, for both sides of the equation. In other words, it kept landlords on the straight and narrow because there was a yearly inspection with Section 8, or there still is. So the houses had to be kept in good order, and then it requires that the tenant, mind their P's and Q's and don't beat up the house and trash it and smoke in it and, have your cat urinate all over it and that kind of thing. Because if the tenant does destroy the house or mess up the house, they get permanently blocked from this government program. Now, it paid 90%, or in most jurisdictions, it pays about 90% of the rent. So that'll be probably the basis upon which they will build the rest of this program out. Like I said, I suspect at the end of the day, it will have a hard time passing our U.S. Congress currently the way it's situated. And they may get some watered down version through. We'll just see. But it's high on the agenda of the Biden administration, and conversely, the U.S. Senate in Democratic hands currently. And, they will push to get something like this through. So keep your eyes and ears open, because as they create these brush fires and, we worry about the Chinese weather balloons that are spy satellites and that kind of thing, they're slipping this stuff in the back door, and that will affect our business. So we have to be careful, because a lot of us are either in fact or in practice landlords out there. Even if you're doing a lease option, in theory, you are a landlord for a period of time. So we have to be careful. I would actually ask, and I would encourage everybody who watches these videos, to get yourself involved in these kinds of things. Write to your congressman, write to your senator, tell them your opinion about this kind of stuff. Tell them, hey, most of us are small mom and pop operations, and this provides an extra burden that we don't need to be able to run our business and provide good housing for our people, our tenants out there. So keep your eyes and ears open. Of course, we will keep you guys in the loop as we see more and we hear more about this kind of stuff, but I want to get you all up to speed. Okay, thank you for watching. If you get a minute, I would love to hear your comments about what you think of these videos. Feel free also to put in any topics down here in the comment section, things that you'd like to hear me discuss. Any questions you want, go ahead and put in here. We'll make sure we get a video on it when we get time. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hit that ring the bell button as well to get notified every time there is a new video. Thanks a lot, everybody.